Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this training video for 20 shapes using Photopea. Okay, so to get to Photopea, we're going to go to ClassLink and go to your Google Drive in ClassLink. And then we go New, More. Photopea should be listed there. If it's not, you haven't installed it in your Google Apps yet, and you need to go back to the training video that I explain how to do that, how to install Photopea, okay? But if you have already installed it, you see it here, you are ready to go. So we're going to click Photopea to open it up. And I'm going to call my new project in the new project window here, 20 shapes. Okay, and that all looks good. I'm going to click create. All right, so here's our workspace and our toolbar over here with our tools, just like in Photoshop. Very similar list of tools. Over here are our panels, just like in Photoshop. We've got a very important layers panel in view right now. We've got one layer. It's called background, and it's locked. This is a standard way to open. I mean, this is what you'll always see. It's identical right now to Photoshop, okay? A lot of tools in here work the same way. So learning these skills will definitely translate when we get back into the classroom and you can start using Photoshop. Can't wait. Anyway, this is to go along with the elements of design, and we're going to use the drawing tools, specifically the shape tools, to create a collage of shapes called 20 shapes, okay? So down here, it's right above the hand, are the shape tools. So I'm going to click and hold list, get that list. So we have rectangles, ellipses, lines, parametric shapes, which are polygons and stars, and we have custom shapes. Okay, we're going to go through all those. Now, when you do click on a tool, the control bar up here gives you the all the different options you have with this tool. So we're drawing shapes. We have a fill of red and a stroke that doesn't, no stroke because it's got the red X on it. If you want to change those colors before you start, just click here and find the color you want. If you don't find the color you want, you can click here and you've got that color bar. And you can move that color bar through the reds, the greens, and the blues, back to reds, and pick inside this continuum here, this domain, the actual color you want, and come down here and make sure you click OK. All right, so now we have that color set for our fill, and you have types of fill for the stroke as well. You can do a solid color, a gradient, or pattern. There's a few patterns built into Photopea, not that many, not like the hundreds you get with Photoshop. I'm going to go here to to the solid color, and I'll pick a stroke. Let's go with blue for my stroke. I want to be able to see my stroke, so 4.4 points is kind of small. So I'm going to just jump in here and maybe set it to 10 PTs, 10 points, okay? So now I'm ready to start drawing. And I'm going to draw a rectangle first because that's what's listed here. So I'm just going to click, hold, top left, drag to the bottom right, and there's my rectangle. Okay, if I select the rectangle with the selection tool, that's the other skill you're learning today, is using the selection tool. You can click on your shape and move it around. Now, when you first use Photopea, the auto select is unchecked. So when you click on the selection tool, you will get the control panel for the selection tool, right? And one of them says auto select. Please make sure you click that. It will make your life much easier when it goes to select multiple shapes and move them around. So make sure you've got that check there. It's very, very, very important you put that check in auto select, okay? So we can move it around. But what if I want to change the size or rotate it? So to do that, there's another tool called the free transform tool. And to get to that, you have to go to edit because we want to edit the shape. Now make sure you've selected first the shape you want to use the free transform tool on, okay? And then you go edit, come down to free transform. You'll get the edit boxes wrapped around your shape. You can come grab a corner and move it around, right? changing the shape as you want. You could also hover over one of the corners for rotating. Okay, so if you want to rotate it. When you're done with the free transform tool, you have to jump out of it by going here to the X. If you want to, not the X, I'm sorry, the check to confirm the change. If you want to cancel the change, you would hit the X, but you don't want to cancel. I'm sure you want to confirm, okay? And now we're good to go. Now, using those three things, the color change, changing the colors, creating the shapes, moving them around, and using the free transform, you should be able to complete this assignment. But you got to give me 19 more shapes. So, and I want examples of all the shapes. So I'm going to click and hold, and I'm going to go and show you ellipses now. So an ellipse looks like this, right? And I can release the mouse. There's my ellipse. I can use the selection tool and click on it. And let's say I want to change the color of this ellipse. We'll do that, select it, and go down and click on the ellipse tool to pull up the colors. Pull up the control panel for the ellipse tool. And then you can go in and change the color and change the stroke. All right. So that's ellipses. And if I want to draw lines, click on the line. I can do a line. And it's just basically end points. I click and then drag, and those create the end points. And it just creates the line between the two end points. You could see the stroke and the fill there. Maybe I'll turn the stroke off on this guy. There. Now it's the green fill. See, I can see it better. All right. That's a line. Now I'm click and hold, go to the parametric shapes. And so I've got the control panel for the parametric shapes, and there's an option here to go between polygons, stars, arrows, and spirals. Okay, so on the polygon, you have to say how many sides you want. So let's say I want to do a triangle. Well, that's a three-sided polygon, so I hit 3, and I'll come out here and click, hold, and drag, and I've got my triangle. Okay, notice as we do, each shape has its own layer. You can move these layers around if you want to change what is on top of what. So if I want to put the triangle all the way to the bottom, I'll just put it right above the background, and now you can see the other shapes cover part of the triangle because the triangle is underneath these shapes, right? So that's a good way to control what's on top of what when we're doing, when we're creating and editing images, and it goes in the order of the layers. From the top is the top layer that you see as you're looking down onto the document. So your eyes are looking down this way towards, towards these are the layers. All right, anyway, I don't think I explained that very well, but all right. Let me just move on here. Okay, so I can use the selection tool and move that around if I want to demonstrate that the triangle is indeed on top of everything else because it's the top layer. Okay, so going back, we're still on parametric. What about stars? So I'm going to click on the star tool, and now I have to change the number of points on the star. So let's make it a 6-pointed star. You could play with the inner radius and the corner radius too if you would like to experiment with these values and see what it does, but I'm just going to go ahead and lay out a star. Okay, so there's a star. It's a beautiful star. And again, I can use the selection tool to click on it, to select it, and then go back and change the colors. Okay. And I could do the free transform as well on the shape and rotate it, or squish it, whatever I want to do. Change it up. Again, edit, free transform, right? And you're doing this as you want. Okay, you decide what you want to free transform, what your shapes are going to look like. Okay, and if I'm going to hit the check because I am in free transform. Okay, let's see what else we got under stars or arrows. With arrows, you have a tip size, you have a width of the arrow as well. So this one's going to be on the smaller size here, right? And again, with these settings, maybe play around with it and see. Yellow against a white background is really hard to see. So I'm going to add a stroke to it. But that stroke is, in this case, too big, so maybe I'll make this one 2 points. There, that looks good. Okay. And the last one in this list is the spiral. You might notice that the P in Photopea is made from their spiral tool. Let's do that. I'm going to go and hit the edit free transform, and I'm going to rotate it. Now that's a backwards looking P, so I'm going to click and reflect it over to get it to look more like the P up here in Photopea. You see that? Okay. And again, we're changing colors. Play around also if you notice. Let's see. Let me use the. Oh, I got to get out of free transform. If you click the drop down, you do have patterns and gradients. Let's try the gradients. Click the drop down. There's some fun little gradients to play around with. Okay. It's up to you how you want to do this. And there's also patterns. There's not that many patterns though, unfortunately. There's not that many patterns. Okay. But there are patterns. So if you want to use what's there, feel free. Okay. So that takes us through. Now the only one we've got left to show you, because this training video is getting kind of long, are custom shapes. If we look at the custom shapes here, we'll load. They're loading. You got to let them load. Come on, custom shapes. Where are you? We're going to wait. We're waiting. Come on. Oh, there they are. Oh, we got all kinds of custom shapes, don't we? Okay, this is better. I can go through. Oh, we got lots of stuff here. Okay, good. I'm like a little kid in a candy store right now, seeing how much this is like Photoshop. These are more emoji-like custom shapes, but they're custom. They're shapes. So yeah, use them. Let's put the gear. Let's draw a gear. There we go. Look at that. That's a funny looking gear. Let's go with a solid color and let's change it up to red. Okay, so you want to give me 20 shapes. If you make a shape collage like what I'm doing, you'll get your point. If you decide to go beyond 20 shapes, you'll get some extra credit. And if you choose to try to communicate an idea or tell a story with your 20 shapes by creating a more complicated shape, like some character using the shapes built to the shapes, just make sure you've got at least 20 shapes on the paper or on the document. And in case so you could like create a scene, like a house scene, build a house, make a little person out of these shapes, have some trees using the shape, whatever you want. You can, and then you'll definitely get extra credit. We'll do more with this. I just want to get some exposure and some experience and some skills on some of the shape tools. Okay. All right. That concludes this. Now to save, because you probably going to come back and work on this later. To save it, we're going to go up here to File. It doesn't save automatically, even though it's out of Google. It doesn't save automatically. So you got to go up here to File, and then you want to save to your Google Drive. Please save it to your Google Drive. Some of you are getting all of you are getting new Chromebooks this week. Some of you might not have your new Chromebook yet, so you don't want to download this to your Chromebook and then give your Chromebook away. To get the new one, right? That would make you have to do this all over again, and that's not going to be good. So make sure you save it to your Google Drive so you can pull it up again. Especially the next training video that I make is to export it and get it on your Wix page. All right, so you're going to need in your Google Drive to do that. So I'm going to click this. You'll see a message saying it's saving, and you then can close out of Photopea. All right, thank you very much. That was a long training video.